let's jump over now to the San Antonio Spurs, the ever-present San Antonio Spurs, who they never seem to die. The Spurs find ways. They've got some young players. Lonnie Walker was looking good in summer league, and then they've got Derek White, of course, who was great for them last season. They've got some young guys here that
DeJounte Murray coming back.
Yes, DeJounte Murray coming back is huge for them. I did think they gave Rudy Gay a little bit much, and then we're definitely going to have to talk about this Marcus Morris situation because,
sure,
my goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's break it down. What happened here is the Spurs said, hey, we want to bring in DeMarre Carroll, who they agreed to terms pretty early on in the free agency process. Mm-hmm. Carroll, that's like perfect Spur. Excuse me. He's a guy you kind of always, I think, it's kind of funny. Like, had he retired, we were like, when did he play with the Spurs? And it's like, oh, he never did. Like, now he's going to get that chance, right? Because he just seems like that guy. So what they did was they'd already agreed with Carroll, where Carroll was going to get a good chunk of the non-taxpayer mid-level. But then what they said was, well, hey, we have this chance at Marcus Morris, who kind of hung out there on the free agent market longer than anybody thought. So what they did was they traded Davis Bertans' $7 million salary into a trade exception for Washington, which that's a great get for Washington.
Yeah.
I know we already talked about them, but we'll talk about them in a future show again more as we kind of regroup on some of this stuff with these teams. But, they trade him out. That creates a $7 million trade exception. They agree to a sign and trade with Brooklyn, which costs them the draft rights to a guy who's, quite frankly, probably never going to come over. And that's how they fit Carroll in. That frees up the full mid-level. They give that to Marcus Morris. And all of a sudden it looks like, man, the Spurs, they added a couple good players here for, really not, much. But then it turned into Reggie Bullock. It sounds like maybe there was an issue with his physical with the Knicks, so they backed out of that deal. And now the Knicks went to Morris and said, hey, we can give you $15 million for 1 year, versus the Spurs who were giving them, about 19 over 2. And it sounds like Morris is maybe on the fence of backing out of that contract. My buddy Jared Weiss, who covers the Celtics and the league as a whole for The Athletic, kind of pontificated like, there needs to be something done about this. Mm-hmm. Now it's tough because these are all, theoretical agreements, right? And
he went a little overboard, though. He was saying like ban the player for a year.
Yeah,
and
for a year.
Yeah,
I think his mindset is in the right place of like, this needs to be fixed because because think about it, if you're the Spurs, you gave up Bertans, and now did you do that for nothing? And that could cause some issues down the line. So I think he's on the right track as far as this could be a problem. How you get there, I don't begin to have that answers, and I don't think he really did either when he tweeted about it. I think he'll rethink that, maybe write a piece on it and flesh it more out. Mm-hmm. What he was thinking, but anyway, so now they're kind of in a holding pattern here a little, which is fine because they'll either get Morris or they'll just use that exception elsewhere or in season or something else. But now it looks like, they might have lost Davis Bertans for nothing. And that's tough.
Yeah, certainly. And look, Jared is right that something needs to be done. But at the same time, like a lot of this is happening after the moratorium was lifted. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're the Spurs, you should have just got him signed like right away, right? I mean, they should have. Once he agreed, they needed to get that signature on paper. Maybe Morris, was wavering on it or something. But the bottom line is, yes, it's a bad look for everybody involved if there's a verbal agreement and then a team goes and makes moves around that agreement, and then that player changes his mind, or even if the team were to change their mind. Although I think that would kind of ruin their reputation moving forward if a team were to back out like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, teams are not going to do it because then agents are going to, go out. Or we kind of talked about paying a tax to get guys. Like, you're going to have to really overpay to get guys in. But at the end of the day, the Spurs are going to be the Spurs. I'm not going to be dumb enough to pick them to miss the playoffs again this year. I say that now in the middle of July. We'll see. When it comes time to actually put picks in the middle of August or middle of October rather. But they're just going to be good again. They're just going to keep this thing cranking and moving forward. And, and now the position I'm really curious to watch is the point guard spot, because you've got Murray, you've got White, Patty Mills still is a point guard. Bryn Forbes is more of a point guard than he is anything else. So that's something kind of curious, but Greg Popovich will make it work. He'll, run out these all kinds of goofy lineups and mix and match guys all together. And they'll, and then, come April, everybody will be like, man, the Spurs are going to be standing across the way playing some team that doesn't want to play them in the first round.